Hey guys, welcome back to Tech Insights with Dylan White. Thank you guys for being here. As always, if you're enjoying the content, please let me know down in the videos if there's anything you'd like to see. But as always, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Let's keep it rolling. We are, as I said, in day 5 of the LinkedIn 100-day consistency challenge, and we're diving into everything about why I chose Microsoft as the focus and epicenter of my professional career, why I think it is a great avenue for any of those that are looking for their future or to make a switch and transition in this interesting job economy that. So for the purpose of that, I'm going to give you guys the background of why I chose it, why I think it's the best, and what all I've learned through the last, sounds crazy to say out loud, 17 years of my IT career. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So story time. For me, with everything Microsoft, it all started back when I was about 12 years old. I think as everybody did, whether they got their first computer or if it was a family computer. My journey didn't start any different. It started with the first computer the family had. It was actually my mom's in her office, and it was a work computer that got me in IT. And I'm sure she'll appreciate the story, but I actually got started with a little program called LimeWire. Didn't really know what it did and how it would affect a personal computer, but I just knew I needed some good CDs and some tunes for the Zune. Get back to the good old devices, if you guys know it. But yeah, might have broken an image machine or two. Learned how to re-image a machine to from a floppy disk, if you remember those. From a CD-ROM, I've done a couple of those as well. Good old Windows XP days. But it taught me a lot. It taught me about what an operating system is. It taught me about why it's important to know where you're getting your downloads from. It taught me a lot about computer safety. I just really got a little intrigued and got dove into it a little bit further. From that, my mom told me I was going to know how to fix everything. She also got me integrated into some Windows Excel to help her with work to pay off kind of missing some moments. So I got a good understanding of pivot tables from there too. So it was really exciting. So that takes me back to when I was 12. So obviously that was early 2000s. From there, it went to helping my grandma with her storage issues on her personal computer. Way back when we were just starting to learn what OneDrive was, and also just learning how to extend hard drives and file systems and all that good stuff. So it really got me very intrigued into just knowing that, hey, computers can break just on the amount of storage it has. It's crazy. But who would think that, 20 years later, still an issue we talk about today, a little red on a hard drive. Nobody's ever seen that error come up before on a C drive. So from there, that interest kind of subsided. I did a bunch of different little family projects. I even had a little neighborhood project I would do, help people clean up their computer, re-image, and install software, and also install antivirus, etc. Back when that got really popular. So fast forward, I was 19 years old, just got enlisted into the United States Coast Guard. Thank you, Coast Guard, for allowing me to have a great 8 years of service. And it was awesome, right? So for the first 3 years of that, I spent doing search and rescue. By a year in, I realized search and rescue wasn't where my passion was. So thanks to the Coast Guard, they allow you to change rate and learn about all the different rates. That's the best part about being a non-commissioned officer in the Coast Guard, is you get to choose, best saying in the world, choose your rate, choose your fate. So I tested everything. I think those that can see from my IT career that I try everything I have to. So from driving the boat to learning about marine science to learning about yeoman school, otherwise known as HR in the real world, to learning about, didn't I learn? There's a lot out there. I think I even learned about food service for a week or two and realized that you're going to spend years away from your family on a boat. The only real role outside the world is being a chef, which again, you're going to spend years of your life away from your family. Just didn't sit right with me. And I had been fixing Army computers at the search and rescue station since I got in there. We had a very large rollout of a mandated service for all search and rescue missions that involved small boats. You had to start checking that boat out using computer equipment and software, etc. We had an issue where we couldn't even check our boat out to get underway due to a computer issue. So I did the old triple boot and luckily brought it back up And so I kind of just became the quasi geek squad for the IT at the search and rescue station as well. For those of you that don't know, boat drivers going to be a little rough on computers. So there's a lot of stories there. But no, it was fun. It was a good time. But they also really invested in me to go learn about what IT was. We were fortunate enough to have all the Coast Guard's district, we call them, Milwaukee, where I was stationed. We had everybody from IT to marine science, etc. All the jobs were there. So I was able to go look and learn and see what IT did. And their job was really cool, from everything from supporting, obviously, the small boat stations and supporting the sector, individual users, and Active Directory, telephone systems, all that stuff. It was there, right? So I went home, talked to my recently wife about that at that time, and kind of asked the questions like, "Hey, does this seem right?" Just so happened that she loved tech too. She was my personal iPhone tech. She was the one that set up everybody's home phones and all that stuff. So she's like, this would be really cool to do it together. So I put my name on the IT training school list, which just so happened to be one of the coolest places in the United States, which was Petaluma, California. For those of you that know, that is in Sonoma County, also known as Wine Valley, because Napa also sits in Sonoma County. So it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. On the Coast Guard's dime, it was probably one of the best experiences you could have. We didn't have cable, we didn't have any of that, because every weekend we were doing something crazy cool. Whether it was going down to the beach and seeing lighthouses and doing some wine fest that was there. It was a really cool time, right? Also 2012, so the streaming services weren't huge. It was a very good time. And there at the IT training school, we learned everything. We learned from A plus, Net plus, because we didn't know what those are in the industry, computer basics and hardware basics, to networking basics and subnetting. And I won't ever be a network architect, because subnetting it's wizardry to me. And so from there, we went and learned how to do IT splicing and telco and rack and stack networking infrastructure, and actually do infrastructure commands on Cisco equipment, and get really well prepped to where we can even take our CCNA offsite at our first unit if we wanted to. And we learned about via telephone systems. We were able to stand up our own telephone system and an actual telecommunications network, all right there. And within the span of a month, it was intense. Every module was intense. We learned how to splice pier lines. We learned how to do underwater splicing, a little bit of just what the cabling looks like. We learned how to do above ground wiring. It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. But then in our last capstone, we actually learned how to do infrastructure IT, server virtualization servers, Active Directory. We stood up our own Active Directory and file and print server, and just getting the computer to work and actually turn on, and then back imaging that computer and pixie booting the computer all had me very intrigued. All right, guys, sorry about that. When you have 4 kids, there's always somebody interrupting you. I should start doing outtakes. I probably get more likes and comments. I think everybody understands that life these days. But no, besides doing pixie boots and just learning about what it takes to stand up in a network that's capable of staying infrastructure users and support infrastructure users, it's really cool. And I'm really intrigued to just the capabilities of information systems. So throughout learning all of that, and the reason why the military has you learn all that, especially the Coast Guard, is just every mission is so different, so unique. But I think that is a really good precursor to what I do right now, which is a strategic advisor, is helping organizations understand that everything you do is different, right? One business unit to another has a different mission, let alone one news organization to another organization. So with that being said, I was able to get stationed at the mecca of all information systems with the Coast Guard, which is the Telecommunications Information Systems Command, based just outside of Washington, D.C., in Virginia. It was awesome. I loved being Alexandria, but I also loved the roles I got to do. Besides being a level 3 help desk administrator for over 80,000 people, to being a NOC engineer, to being a NOC watch lead, to being a help desk lead, to going and being an actual virtualization engineer, and working with the different architects and really high level people that went on to start doing VMware and Veeam right when they first came out. And also we were doing Commvault from a backup perspective, all kinds of different tools that, to be honest, not many people in regular use even had started using these technologies, let alone in the military. And so to be at the peak and at the actual forefront and bleeding edge of all the technologies, with not only brilliant people from a military perspective, but we're talking the Microsoft side. We worked with premier field engineers, and those were back in the day, to also being able to see solutions architects from places like Commvault, like Veeam, like Cisco. Like you're working with the best of the best, along with the best of the best contractors, for the biggest contracting agencies you could think of in the world. It was an eye-opening experience, right? When you start thinking about your future, right, as an individual, and personally, knowing that I was under the process of getting medically retired, you start thinking about what your actual outlook on career-wise looks. You start thinking, where do I want to go? So I started talking to Microsoft Premier Field engineers that we had supporting us for Exchange, that were also supporting our Hyper-V missions, but also supporting our SCCM and SCOM and all that good stuff missions. And it just really told me Microsoft's the way to go. I already loved Microsoft. I had put hundreds of hours into learning Hyper-V inside and out, going and doing racking and stacking servers and doing a gigantic migration of 2008 to server all the way to our 2010 Exchange and 2012 R2 mission, to supporting that worldwide. I knew I wanted to do something along there because of the cool project we had to do, all the way from bash scripting and OS updates to all kinds of cool PowerShell v2 stuff. So learning that and put my head into PowerShell for Dummies books, I think I was ready for it when the real world hit me. So I was able to get a job. I had about a month and about 6 weeks from the time I got my orders of that were being that I was getting out of the service, my ETS orders, all the way to, hey, this is your update's coming. So I started interviewing and got a job with a managed service provider back where my wife lived, which was awesome because it was close to family. We were able to save money and all that good stuff. But also just the mission of a managed service provider, right? Consulting at this very small provider was dozens, almost 50 plus customers, right? Very niche, but across manufacturing, across retail, across automotive industry, just all the different issues, healthcare, etc. That came with that, but also doing field support and doing field consulting and doing executive leadership at the MSP. Like it was insane the amount of stuff that managed service providers do. And then switching over and working in the corporate industry, and leading missions around end user security and endpoint security and data loss prevention, but also then supporting migration and supporting productivity applications like G Suite and M365, right? Like it just showed me more and more where I was going, to then just be going back in the consulting world, like realizing that I personally don't like just being in one environment. Like I didn't like that part of corporate IT. I found that very constraining, and just from a mindset personality perspective, like I find consulting much more rewarding. And so I went back into consulting, and I just haven't left since. I think consulting gives you so many avenues, right? And in my LinkedIn post, you guys will see it. Like, think of being able to talk one day around Hyper-V and Azure Arc and Azure Stack, but then the very next day being able to talk about SharePoint, Viva, OneDrive. You don't get to do that every single day in corporate IT, right? But in consulting, I do that every single day, but also add in a little juice of Microsoft Sentinel, right? Probably more Microsoft Sentinel, XDR, Defender, all that good stuff, than the SharePoint OneDrive conversations. But now we're talking Entra Suite, Intune Suite, and all the different things that are at the forefront and bleeding edge of organizational technology. It's just incredible the amount of breadth that Microsoft has. But then we have a mission of bringing the better together story, right? Like actually aligning that Microsoft forefront and back end technologies and all these integrate intelligent applications, but also to what is at the bleeding edge of the actual tool stack for different organizations, right? Are they using an ERP system that's unique to construction that they need to work with their Microsoft 365? Are they using a security tool set that is unique in their orchestration, right? Like they need it to make sure that their application is better, right? And that they provide it back out to their customers. So working at the forefront of all these technologies and all these different integrated platforms, it just keeps giving me the juice every single day to keep working. So with all that being said, now that story time's over and why I chose Microsoft, why I think it's the right profession for those that in the right career path and right technology vendor for you to start honing in your skills if you're looking to transition. It's simple. Microsoft Learn is one of the largest platforms in the world for actual technology learning, and the way they bring their content to transitioners and to learners around the world in all the different languages, it allows for the most robust learning experience you could ever imagine. I've used Microsoft Learn for the last almost 8 years, almost a decade, as long as I've been in corporate IT. And the amount that's grown over those years, right? From launching into their curriculums and modules to launching into applied skills and more certifications. The coverage spans all the Microsoft solution areas, but also starts going to niches and even into the Microsoft Excel and productivity apps that they even support themselves. So with that being said, there's a skill, they have it. There's an integration platform, they have it. They even have different ones if you're in the SAP or also in the SAP space. They have my Azure on SAP training, right? Like all kinds of different training. So if you're thinking about it, it's worth at least doing an experience. I have a couple of videos I've linked down below on what Microsoft Learn is. So if you have questions, please let me know. I'm so excited and to talk to you about any of your Microsoft. Anybody that knows me, I talk Microsoft way longer than this video will ever let me go. And so for tomorrow, we're going to talk about something that I get just as excited about. I nerd out just as much about. That is the profession I am now in, which is Microsoft pre-sales. Just pre-sales in general, right? You can put any product name in there, shove pre-sales, shove sales engineer, solutions architect, sales architect, whatever it is, field architect, whatever. The role, very similar, right? Our job is to be a trusted advisor and a consulting advisor for organizations that we support, right? And so I love the role. I love getting to talk at this level and talk about all these different technology and tools and how they affect and impact organizations of different sizes, different verticals, different sectors, and different use cases. So until then, I'll say this again to you. Enjoy the gift you have that is today. Embrace the history you have that is yesterday. And get ready for the mystery of tomorrow. Until then.